Alright guys, today we are back out in the shop, and today we are going to show you guys how to install the steering stabilizer. This is a steering stabilizer that we use on all the Ford E series. So this is going to cover everything from your E150 van, E250 van, E350 van, E350 RV, or E450 RV. So one part is going to do it all. So let's take a look at the parts that are going to be all included in this kit. Let's start off with the biggest, coolest thing in there, and that's going to be the Fox steering stabilizer. You're going to have your frame mounting bracket. This is going to mount to the frame, and we're going to show you how to do that. This is going to be your tie rod mounting bracket. This is all the hardware in order to mount your U-bolts, in order to mount your bracket to your tie rod. This is going to be all your 1/2 inch hardware in order to mount your both shock ends right here to both of your brackets. And then these 4 3/8 bolts are going to be the hardware to mount your bracket to the frame. So pretty straightforward so far. So here's the tools that you're going to need in order to install this. First, you're going to need a drill. You're going to need a 3/8 drill bit. We're going to have to drill 4 holes into the frame in order to mount this bracket. The next thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a 9/16 socket, and you're going to need a 9/16 wrench. That's going to be to tighten all the 3/8 bolts. The next thing that you're going to need is a 3/4 inch socket and a 3/4 inch wrench. That's going to be to tighten your 1/2 inch stuff. Of course, if you want to use a ratchet or an impact, that's totally up to you. But those are the parts that are going to be included in the kit, and those are going to be all the tools that you need to install this. So now let's show you guys how to install this right now. Alright guys, so here's your bracket. So I've already moved the lines out of the way. These lines are just fastened right here on this cross member. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to fit it up in there. And you can see now that this bracket kind of contours this cross member. So once you have that marked or setting up there, I'm going to take it and I'm going to mark my first hole. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and pull the bracket off. I'm going to drill the first hole right there. The one other tool I forgot you should have, make sure you guys wear safety glasses when using drill bits. We always want to make sure that we stay safe. Alright guys, so what I'm doing now is I am taking the first 3/8 bolt and I'm attaching it to the cross member there. And the way I'm doing this, when it all gets assembled, you're putting a flat washer on the bracket side and then on the frame side, and then your lock washer. So now what I can do is I can go ahead, I'll tighten up this bracket. And now once I've gotten that tightened, I'll go ahead and drill my next hole. Alright, there it is. So the bracket is mounted up on the frame. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to mount the tie rod part, and that's going to actually hang right here. First, I'm going to have to get the rest of this front end back on. Obviously, that made it really easy for mounting this bracket when the steering is out of the way. You're still able to do it even if your tie rods are there. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this front end put together, and then we'll show you how to install the shock and the tie rod mounting bracket. Alright guys, so you can see we have the steering, and then we also have this awesome Baja grocery getter kit now is all installed on the front of this Ford van. So we're going to go back to finishing putting the rest of the steering stabilizer on. And what you're going to do next is you're going to go ahead and take this, you can put it up in there. You're going to go ahead and take your bolt, drop your bolt down in the hole, and there you go. So now you can see that your second bracket is going to go over here. So this is going to kind of give you an idea of where this bracket, that second bracket, is going to go. All right guys, so what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take your U-bolts, get those put in your bracket. And now what you can do is we're going to go ahead and put all of our lock washers and flat washers on there. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of snug all of these bolts up right here. This is going to be the easiest position before I rotate this bracket in the position that it's going to go. That's when I'm going to need the wrench, just because there's a little more stuff up there in the way in order to get these things all tight. Alright, so once I get this, you can kind of see that that hose is a little bit tight in there, but still I'm going to get this one snugged up, and then I want to show you guys this. So when you come over here and look, you're going to see this is your pitman arm right here. So with all of our Baja grocery getter kits, we do not use a drop pitman arm. You don't need to, because we're not dropping down the brackets. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your new bracket for your steering stabilizer at the same angle as your pitman arm. So I can see, I'm going to just rotate this. You can see that's going to go about right there. And now I'm going to come in, I'm going to tighten up all the rest of these bolts. Alright, so now that you have this bracket on, the next part is you're going to install the second side of your steering stabilizer with your second 1/2 inch bolt. We're going to do that the same way. We're going to drop it through the bottom here. Now this is the fun part here. So right now, first what we have is we've taken your steering and turned it all the way to the left or to the driver's side. What that's doing is that's putting the pitman arm at its farthest point away. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have to compress the shock in order to put this bolt in the eyelet of the shock. Another thing that that's going to do is it's never going to allow the steering stabilizer to fully extend and pull out of the shock. So that's something that's also important. When we're all done, we'll go back and forth and make sure that it doesn't overextend or extend or overly compress. So now the fun part. So you can see, you just got to kind of muscle that thing over, get it to drop in there. And then what we're going to do is take our other flat washer, our lock washer, and then our nut. And now that we got that all on there, we can do the same thing to the other side and then tighten down all of our bolts. Okay, so now guys, you can go ahead and tighten that down. That's going to be a 3/4 inch right there. And on another quick note, all these tools that we're using today are just gear wrench tools. I found that I really like these, and all these are available on Amazon. Not paid by Gear Wrench, anything. I just like them, I dig them. If you want to know more, there's a link below to our Amazon account. Alright guys, so that's it. The steering stabilizer is installed. Yes, I will wipe that down because as you can see, the underneath of this thing is really dirty. So I'll make sure I clean up that box steering stabilizer because I know someone's going to comment on that. So here's another little tip and trick that I like to do on these. So you can see you have this hose, which is your radiator hose, that kind of hangs down. Typically it does not, but I don't like how close these bolts can come to this. So if you can see right here, you already have a hole in your radiator fan shroud right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put another hole right about here, so about 1.5 inches away. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure that hose up there to get it completely out of the way. Now I forgot to, this is still, you can use just that normal 3/8 drill bit. We're just going to come up in here. So I've put it in one hole and I'm bringing it out the other. And now I'm just going to take this and pull that up tight. Now that's just going to secure that up against the shroud. I'm gonna cut the rest of that zip tie off. So that's a little tip there, just to get that hose up and out of the way a little bit more. Give that bracket a little bit more room for clearance. So the next step in what we're gonna do is we're gonna get in the car. We're gonna turn the wheels all the way to the passenger side. Make sure that this shaft right here doesn't want to overly compress, and when it's all the way closed that it still has a little bit of room right here and is not compressing into the body of the shock. All right guys, so you can see we've turned the wheels now all the way to the other side, and even there's still, you have room in there. That shock is not going to get fully compressed right there. So what would happen is if the shock was fully compressed, you may just want to put a mark right here on your tie rod, and then you would just slightly move this up the tie rod, maybe 1/4 of an inch, to give it a little bit more space. So really simple to do. You guys can install this in, you know, under an hour, what it takes to install it. If you guys have any questions, if I missed something, comment below. I hope this helps you guys install our steering stabilizer. I'll also make sure I put a product link to this on our website. And keep in mind, like I told you guys before, this will work on a stock van, a stock RV. You can run this on any stock E-Series van, RV, camper, whatever you have, E150, 250, 350, 450, and then you can also run this with our lift. So maybe you're thinking, hey, I want to put a steering stabilizer on there, but my van's not lifted, my motorhome's not lifted. You know, go for it, try it out. Fairly inexpensive thing that is going to help a bunch. That's all I got for you guys. I hope this helps. And by now, I'm sure you've smashed that subscribe button already. I'm Jeremy from Weldtec Designs, and that's it. I'm done. Oh, wait. Hold on. I don't want to leave no dirty fingerprints on any parts, you know? So that's it, guys. Get out of here. Go away.